Hey everyone, so this is going to be hopefully an ongoing meeting, just sort of a virtual mentorship program that I'm thinking about starting. So this is the first of hopefully many late night meetings where you're available to hop on, ask questions, learn about the architectural profession. I'm just going to be doing some work here. So this is a live chat on YouTube. Anyone's welcome to join, ask questions, and I'm going to be getting some work done in the meantime. So I'll be posting this, or it'll just be logged to our live page, and we'll have a running log of these meetings for anyone that wants to refer back to them or join them in the future. So feel free to join, and I'll be available for questions. Thanks. What was I planning to do tonight? We were going to renew a proposal that has expired. We are going to write a new proposal for renderings. And then if there's time, we'll take a look at our website, make some updates. So feel free to ask questions. Website. So first thing, renew a proposal. I have a contractor, no, not a contractor, a developer who is doing work in the North Shore area here, and he's buying up some homes, investing in them and flipping them. And we had a proposal out maybe a month and a half ago, and I typically do my proposals to expire after 30 days. So we have to go in and renew the proposal so that when he signs it, it's legally binding and accurate. So I do all my documentation on Google Drive. It just helps carry over some of the work if I am working remotely. Just always having it accessible is pretty nice, and I download everything to my drive at least once a week just to make sure everything is safe and backed up. So anyway, let's go into the drive, Quilts Architecture, billing, proposals and contracts. This is Priscilla. And I have two, we broke this into two phases, so I'm gonna update both phases. Let's see the cover page. Part 2. It is 6/18, so yeah, this just expired, but gotta keep it fresh. Do this. Part 1, download. Okay, so we've got that. We'll call this page 1, and then part 2, same date. If you like this music, by the way, this song is actually from, what was it called? It's AI generated. Udio? Yeah, Udio, AI music generator. Great tool for making background music, especially if you're making videos, doing content. Check it out, UDIO. It's a fun little process, pretty similar to MidJourney if you guys have experienced working in or with MidJourney, AI, synthetic imagery. It's like AI synthetic music. So, all right, we've we've got our cover pages done. Now let's go into our actual documents. Part 1, 618. Any questions? Hey Steven, how are you? I'm doing well, how are you? We're starting, hopefully, sort of a virtual mentorship program. I'm gonna try and be online, live, at least a few times a week. We'll see if we can get on like a regular schedule. Just to be here live and start asking questions about practice. So, and in the meantime, I'll just be doing some late night work, catching up on the business. So right now I was just revising some proposals. How are you doing? What are you up to? 618. Okay, we're good to go. Signature page. All right, that's ready for prime time. Download that. Okay, this is part 1. Delete that, so this is ready to go. Got the fee on there, the dates are updated, my signature is good to go. So we will save that and start an email to the developer. Robbie. This is 2024. What's going on? If you guys have any questions, let me know. That's what we're here for. League of Emergent Architectural Practitioners. That's what we're calling this. LEAP. You like that or no? Thought it was kind of fun. Part 1, 2. Hey. Robbie. I noticed our proposals have expired. Just wanted to attach some refreshed ones with renewed dates. I just had a headache with a client and I'd like to stop doing traditional project follow-up and concentrate solely on AI by creating content. I hear you, man. It can be a headache for sure. I think, yeah, that's definitely been something I've had to contend with, is like the desire to do content creation versus running a business. It's really interesting what's happening in the architectural industry right now. We've got a lot of cool new tools coming out. And a lot of the tools feel like you can't really use them in practice. So I'm curious, like you had a headache with a client, you said, I just stopped doing traditional project follow-up and concentrates. Like what was the issue? What do you mean by you'd like to stop doing traditional project? Like what kind of architecture are you doing? And then what would you want to start concentrating on? Solely AI by creating content, like social media content? what it sounds like. Just wanted to attach. Expired. I don't know if you dropped off there, but I was just following up, asking what's the traditional architecture you're doing, and then what is the AI content that you want to move into. Exactly, yes, about interior design. That's good, you know. What programs have you been working with in interior design for AI? I know there's a new one that just came out. I've actually got a whole folder here. I know I'm not sharing the screen, but I can ramble them off here. AI generators, Never Seen is the one that like just came out. That's supposed to be pretty good. I tried it. The creator of it was reaching out to me. I'm supposed to maybe work on a video for it. It is something I'd like to get around to because it seemed especially good for interior design. So I want to do a video on that sometime soon. I noticed proposals expired, attached on refreshed ones with renewed dates. On a side note, we reached out to Town Park, and they are running about 4 to 6 weeks, ridiculous, for initial reviews. Pretty ridiculous. So for anyone else is there, we're talking about AI. We had an architect on who was interested in shifting from traditional practice to doing AI generated content, which is great. But I wanted to encourage everyone to actually stay within the traditional field of practice while utilizing the AI tools. Attachments are refreshed. I guess this one comes and goes. That one's a pretty dark song. I like it though. Okay. Where were we? Just shooting off this email. Did I finish this proposal? Yes. I have part 1 done. We have to update part 2. What's going on, guys? League of Emergent Architectural Practitioners. first meeting. You guys are part of making history here. You want to talk about the future? That's what this is about. I've mastered MidJourney, but I can't see how to make it profitable without thinking only about money. Yeah, that's pretty much exactly where I left off in terms of making those booklets, the MidJourney booklets. I did like an interior design, exterior design, and an urban scale design booklet, and when I launched them, they did pretty well. And then I kind of just felt like I was spinning my wheels, and I thought, what would happen if I just made one of these like every month or so, like a whole series of them, or every couple months. Would it be profitable? Would it be worth it? What's it doing for the profession? Is it just making pretty images for nothing? And that's kind of how it felt. But there is a way, and I don't think MidJourney is the way, actually. So that's something that you may want to stray from or explore away from, especially in terms of integrating into project workflow for AI tools. So I was just reached out to by one of my contractors today who I work with on several projects. And he builds homes with or for the government, like all over the Chicagoland area. And he had a 2D hand sketched. It looked hand sketched, but yeah, actually was hand sketched from an older architect who still does hand sketch work. But I think the mayor of the town wanted to see these as rendered drawings. He did some pencil coloring over it, which it was actually not very good. And I want to be nice about it, but it was not passable for like a rendered image. And I said, I don't really have the time to do this right now. I've got 5 or 6 projects that are under construction, 5 or 6 more projects that are like just kicking off. But I remembered that I could run these 2D drawings through an AI application and basically have rendered images in a couple minutes. So for that, I used PromeAI. That's PROMEAI. I think it's at pro.com. There's no .com. It's at .pro, not .com. They changed their website URL. But for that, you're able to take a 2D line drawing. So I'm trying to make a relationship between your interior drawings and do like basically a photorealistic 2D elevation rendering in seconds just by telling it, brown shingle roof, white vinyl siding, white traditional windows. I think I said red entry door, white paneled garage door, and it spit out like a perfect rendering. And I showed it to the contractor. I said, "Is this what you would be looking for?" He said, "That's it. That's exactly it. How much do I owe you?" And he wanted like 6 iterations of that with like different colors and things. So that's actually one of the proposals I'm going to be writing up tonight for him. And I think you can do that in a way with interior design if that's what you're focused on. But like quickly generating schemes for people and like making that part of the business, or finding a way to integrate it into your business model somehow by offering that as a service that's like unique to you. I think it can be leveraged. I think it's time to like start leveraging that as a design tool, as a service provider, because it's not going away, and people are going to be looking to see who is utilizing these tools in their practice. So that's my position on it. Okay, so curious of your thoughts on that, if you've experimented with PromeAI, or what were some of these other ones? This is my whole list. I've got Adobe Firefly, Blue Willow, Dream Studio, Fabry, Fabrie AI, DALL-E, MidJourney, MNML AI, and I think that's another architect who was like using or creating a program to generate interior and exterior architecture specific imagery. And that one was pretty good. I did that as part of the ControlNet video a while back. PromeAI, which is very good. That's the one I'm kind of using primarily right now. Veras, VERAS, from Evolve Lab. They have a plugin for Revit, SketchUp, and I think a few other programs they're coming out with it for. And I think they have a standalone AI image generator also. VizCon Dream by Wombo. I don't even remember some of these. I just have like a whole list of all the links to these. Blockade Labs. Prompt Base is actually just a marketplace where you can sell those. Scribble Diffusion was a really fun little tool that cannot be used for much. I mean, I'm sure there's a way you can integrate it into your business. ControlNet, which is, this is from like the actual Stable Diffusion website. Jaggly, ControlNet, Scribble. Some of these are from like the Hugging Face website too. I don't know what this one is. I think that was a depth map generator. MidJourney prompt tool. There's actually a prompt tool that helps assist you in writing prompts for MidJourney. I have the actual ImageNet and the billions of images that were trained, that Stable Diffusion was trained on. It's fun, kind of interesting to filter through those. ImageNet, and the new one, Never Seen, the Never Seen app. I'll do a video on that maybe later this week or early next week, because that one looked really good for interior architecture, but specifically for exterior, PromeAI has been like really amazing to use 2D line drawings and get really nicely rendered images. So that's just some things that you can look into, just starting to exploring away from MidJourney. Definitely worth seeing what else is out there to see if it can help in your practice. Okay, so what time we got here? We're at about 22 minutes into this. I think we'll do about 30 or 45 minute sessions. That seems like an appropriate amount of time to get any questions in. It's impressive the audience you've managed to gather. How do you manage the channel, the creative process when you're creating a project in MidJourney? Possibilities are so wide. My tired mind often comes up with so many possibilities. Yeah, it's like, it's endless. So you really do have to have a certain goal in mind. And typically for me, everything that I had created so far has been sort of an offshoot of like one primary idea, which has really been to create a new, I don't want to call it style, but a new typology of architecture that focuses specifically on curvilinear forms that can either be 3D printed or assembled with traditional wood framing parts and clad in 3D printed components or a combination of that. So you've seen probably me creating a lot of like domed structures, curvilinear structures. Some of the more traditional stuff like was just generated to put those booklets together. But I think, you know, if you have something that you can lean on in terms of a purpose, it's kind of like a big grand type of question or assignment to give, but yeah, like part of the reason I moved into the residential sector of architecture was so that I can pursue this specifically, sort of inspired by Frank Lloyd Wright. He developed a whole prairie style of architecture that inspired an entire generation of architects. And, you know, we have that with Star Architects. I think I've mentioned before, you know, I went to school in the era of Zaha Hadid, Rem Koolhaas, Bjarke Ingels, Frank Gehry, Stephen Hall. just sort of like all the big names, you know, or at least they're really big back then, and everyone was competing for the competitions and the projects. And I look back on some of those concepts, and it's like Bjork Ingels coming up with, like, you know, the symbol for people, and it was like the two buildings that like went like this, and I think it was the Chinese symbol for people. And it's like that's a, you know, not to be like derogatory to any like culture, but it's a silly concept, like to make a building look like the symbol of a word. It just seemed like an excuse, like, to create a cool form. It's like, what did the building really do functionally or performance-wise for anything? So anyway, kind of straying away from your question, but I think, you know, if you have something to lean on in terms of tradition or culture that you think is important to push or evolve in a way, that is to say, like, cultures and traditions, they can get lost if they're not practiced. They should be carried on exactly as they were, but I do also think that they can be propelled into the future through slight modifications that preserve the integrity of the idea, if that makes sense. So for me, I'm Greek. I like the curvilinear structures that were built in Santorini and the hillside. So I'm always trying to emulate that feel. It's really just a feeling thing, but it's a philosophical thing also for me, that, you know, we originate from nature, and nature, aside from some very rare cases with some unique metal structures, there's not a lot of straight lines. The horizon is one, like a tree, you know, for a short period of time will grow in a straight time, but everything really truly is meandering, wavering, curvilinear, amorphic. So I think we're actually intended to reside and, yeah, just live in structures that are more curvilinear. So that's really the genesis of my pursuit. Are there any ideas that you focus on that you would want to draw from or elaborate on in order to change the profession in any way? I think that's a good question. Okay, this is our next contract. We changed the dates. I changed my signature on here. I did. So I can download this one. Are you optimistic about the future of architecture with the arrival of AI? I'm amazed at every image MidJourney can create. Yes, I am completely optimistic about it. I was just responding to some Reddit comment about AI in architecture, and it's really interesting to see, like, the different levels of awareness that people have of the tools that exist. And yeah, I genuinely believe that, like, the tools are here, they're not going anywhere, they're going to get extremely integrated into the profession and change a lot of the workflows and the ways we practice. So I'm actually embracing it, and I think there's a lot of ways that AI is going to democratize design. I've gotten, like, some pushback for using that word democratize, because apparently it was trendy 10 years ago and not anymore. But I do think there's still something to be said about the proliferation. Is that the right word? I don't think I'm using the right word. Does anyone else do this? Look up define proliferation. Rapid and repeated production of new parts. Yeah, I guess that. The proliferation of design through, like, new tools for the consumer. So you can imagine any homeowner or consumer, they will have the apps on their phones. They can walk around, they can literally scan their apartment or their house and have like a fully functional 3D model that they can use AI and do room designs in. And then to take it further, eventually with deep scanning technology, LiDAR, like being able to actually produce structural models and have AI understand how the existing structure was put together and make recommendations about which walls can or cannot be removed. That's half of the calls I get are with my business is, hey, we want to do a remodel, it's a kitchen remodel, living room, this yada yada, and we have a wall that we want to remove and we're not sure if it's load bearing or not. Okay, I'll come over, we'll go in the attic, I'll take a look, but it won't be long before we've got the tools that can actually generate a model and then using AI assess that model to either reconfigure or produce even a set of plans, or like, here's the detail your contractor would need. Now all you need to do is find an architect in your area. Do you want me to connect you with an architect to verify that this architect is accurate? That is an interesting idea. And I think I'm gonna snapshot that, because that's something that would be a really cool idea. So there's a way you can save highlights, highlight is saved to your reels or something. Great idea. That's something that I think AI should be able to do eventually. What about you? Are you optimistic? Yes and no. Why yes and why no? Attached are refreshed proposals with renewed dates for your use. On a side note, I reached out to Highland Park and they're running about 4 to 6 weeks for initial reviews. Longer than usual. Let me know if you have any questions. Best. Okay. So part 2 proposal I've got here. I like to swap out the cover page with unique cover page here. Make sure you want to delete, yes. The date is right, part 2 is right, that's the amount, okay. Everything's good to go, save. Curious why yes and why no. Becoming more curious about the no. Seeing more people being either intimidated or just unsure of the unknown. Close all tabs, go to my downloads, delete these cover pages that I integrated, attach these documents to the email, and then copy the documents. Optimistic about the potential of AI and pessimistic because the population is not sufficiently educated in architecture and therefore won't follow suit. I might ask you to elaborate on that. Optimistic about the potential of AI. Yeah, me too. I mean, I think, it's up to us to be thinking about what the potential of AI is. So, and pessimistic because the population is not sufficiently educated in architecture. Okay, so what does that mean? I mean, are you concerned about the general public misusing the tools, or just unsure of how they would be used, therefore won't follow suit? I'm going to ask you to elaborate on that. notice our proposals for Priscilla expired attached to our refresh. Okay, so that's good to go. Send. Write a proposal for our contractor friend. Okay, so this is, like I was mentioning earlier, if you were on, a proposal for a contractor who wants me to do some renderings for him. And at first I said no, and then I remembered I can use AI. So then I said yes. So I think that apart from architects and designers, the general public doesn't really care. Yeah, it might be true. I mean, they don't really even need to know about the technologies. I don't think they know about the technologies that we're using now. It's like, if you think about it, you know, they know about 3D modeling tools and software. They know about laser scanning, maybe, but they don't know the process that's involved with it. They don't know the workflows that we have to do. But that's just like any other profession. So, you know, you think about accounting, you think about law, you think about medical practice, you know about it, but I'm sure, you know, there's tools and workflows and processes and all of these disciplines that are the general public doesn't really know about. So I think that's true with any field, really. I think the more exciting and optimistic thing about AI in our profession should be that there's opportunities for things to change, like especially the design to construction workflow. I think there's a huge opportunity with other digital fabrication technologies and construction technologies on the back end, like robotic fabrication, scripting, 3D printing, other digital fabrication, CNC milling, things like that, that have been talked about for a really long time in the industry and have been practiced sort of on the fringe. I went to school at IAC, the Institute for Advanced Architecture in Catalonia, and we were doing these things, God, 2010, it's like 14 years ago. It's ridiculous. And I thought that these things were like in the real world being practiced, and they were not. They were like extremely fringe, and it pains me to think that it's 2024 and they're like still very fringe concepts. Again, I know 3D printing is gaining some popularity. We've got some homes that are being built by Icon and Alquest, a couple 3D printing companies like around the world, really. What was the other one? Another one in Germany. There's a handful, and they're making good progress, and every news station is like using that as a great news story for construction technology that's changing the way your homes are going to be built. But like the truth is, that's another 10, 15 years before that really gets implemented like at a large enough scale for everybody to need to really learn about it. Here where I'm at, I'm in the Chicagoland area. It's I wanted to be like one of the first architects in the North Shore area of the Chicagoland to 3D print a home, and it would just still be really fringe and really experimental. So I think with any industry, you're going to have like a lot of very experimental technologies that are changing the way that people are practicing. And there's like the famous quote, like, you know, you'll eat a steak, but you don't need to know exactly how it's made, type of thing. So anyway, I don't think there's anything to like be concerned in terms of the tools and the industry changing, people not having jobs or anything like that. It's just going to continue to evolve. You'll have different types of jobs, and that's okay. That's my thought. get these contracts out of the way. Permit. I've got to work on some permit drawings. Did I save these? 2024, 29. And here we go. That's funny. The guy that I just commented on his Reddit post about AI architecture, he gave like a YouTube video. I just gave my 2 cents. He reached out to me on LinkedIn. It's funny, I was going to do the same thing for him. So, let's accept, make connections. It's all about making connections, y'all. Hey Steven, you commented on my R Architects post about automated engineering. Thank you. Your YouTube channel looks great as well. Sounds good. Okay. I want to specialize in space architecture, i.e. asking the question of how to live in habitats on the moon or on Mars. I want to conceptual work rather than the concrete projects. My dream. Yes. You are much like I was curious, like where you're at in terms of your professional career or academia. I battled with that for a really long time. I did a lot of conceptual work, personally on my own, on the side, for competitions, for my websites, for my YouTube channels that have evolved like over the years. And you know, I think that's still like a huge drive in my motivation for thinking uniquely, like outside the box in terms of architecture. But space architecture was actually something I was really interested in also. And I will look up, I have someone that I'm connected to on LinkedIn. And space architect. You should know about them. It was a girl, what was her name? Bear with me. What did you call it? Space architecture, but they call it something else. Call it like orbital. Man. I wish I had a different way of looking this up, but yeah, anyway. I think it's really interesting. Your creations are reminiscent of the space theme. Yeah, I know. I mean, I think it's the curvilinear thing that kind of gives it that aesthetic. But there was, man, I wish I can look this person up more easily. She was part of like some Mars mission architecture. Moon to Mars, and I think she started actually working with NASA, a young girl. And you know, there's a lot of companies that I think are starting to look into architects that can work in programs that conceptualize structures on the moon or orbital structures and on Mars. So there was a competition not too long ago for 3D printing out of native material on Mars, and I think it was hosted by NASA, and I'm pretty sure Icon competed in that. So if you really are interested in that, you'll definitely want to look into like 3D printing if you haven't already, but also digital fabrication, because some of the first structures that are built on Mars are likely going to be 3D printed or just robotically fabricated. Jacques, yeah, is that older gentleman? Let me look him up. I think I've been likened to him at some point. People even thought I was like stealing his designs or something. Oh, Jeremy. I don't know if I've seen this guy. Maybe. You know what? I think people are actually crediting his work with another architect. He didn't do some of these projects that he holds a competition. Oh, is that why? Okay, so he's actually the person that hosts the competition, because who was this? This was I'm like blanking on all my names right now. Oh, this used to be one of these architects that I followed really closely. Product, architect websites. You probably don't follow him anymore. Isogini? No. He has like these curving structures. I gotta look this guy up. Terribly blanking on my names tonight. I'm tired. I think he's French too. French architect. Vincent. Yes, Vincent. I'm not even sure how to pronounce his last name. Vincent Calibraut? You familiar with him? I'll type his name in here. How do I do this? Some messages, chat viewing options. No. How do I leave a chat? Can I or no? I should know how to do this. Okay, I'm not sure if I can. I've got options. Top chat. Okay. Yeah, Vincent. And then his last name is spelled Callebaut. Check it out. He does some really amazing architectural work that you might like. And then try and look another minute or two for this person who's a space architect. Space architects. Vincent Calibraut. You've probably seen some of his structures before. Like he's the one with all these like kind of greenwashed, sustainable looking projects, but really cool geometries, really fun to look at. I was like pretty into his work, but there's a lot of architects that are doing like pretty spaceshipy type of looking architecture. Zaha Hadid, obviously, but Tom Wiscombe was one of the architects I followed when I was younger in academia days. Outer space architect. Okay, I think this is her. Yes. Okay. So I've got this girl's name, award-winning space architect, founder of AAKA Space Studio. So she went to MIT. I've connected with her. I'm not sure if we've really communicated much. Okay, you've checked out this projects, yeah. You can check out this architect. I'm not sure if she's licensed or not, or if she's just a designer. I know we're kind of protected about who we call architects, but she calls herself an architect. So I think I can create a poll, and I can at least type it in there. Have you heard of, and then I'll just type her name here. AASTHA. KA. I know I'm shaking all over the place here, so thanks for your patience. Boom. Okay, we have you heard of, and then look up this person. Check that out. Check that person out. I think you'll find her pretty inspiring. I know she's focusing on, what do you call it? Probably orbital architecture, architectures that are orbiting space as a first step to then producing architectures on our celestial body orbiters, which are the moon, and then next Mars. And yeah, there was a competition, a Mars competition. I'll look that up really quickly. And then we're gonna sign off here in just probably 8 minutes. We'll make these hour-long sessions. Mars habitat competition. 3D printed habitat challenge. Yeah. It was hosted by NASA, so it was called the 3D Printed Habitat Challenge. I don't know if I have a date on this. When was this? The competition completed 2019. Oh, this is a while ago. Some really cool concepts and structures. So I'm pretty into this too. I guess that's probably why I know about it so much. But look it up. They've got all the competition entries on here, or at least the honorable mention ones. A lot of teams from a lot of colleges or some different companies entered the competition, and they either had proposals or actual printed structures. Who won? Let's see who won this. The competition completed and awarded a total of $2 million in prizes. Sponsored by Caterpillar, Bechtel, Brick and Mortar Ventures. I don't know, I'll just have to type this in. Who won? Team AI Space Factory. There you go. Look that up. It's very reminiscent of a pod structure that I am pretty obsessed with. I think that's probably why I'm so interested in that. It's they came up with the most efficient shape that they could print, and that would be structural. So look it up. Team AI Space Factory. So we're gonna be, can you repeat the name, please? Maybe I just did or not. Let me know if I did repeat it. The name I have on there in the poll is, I'm not sure how to pronounce it exactly, but it's Astha Kacha. She's a space architect. Shouldn't do quotes. That's what she is. She's working on that. I think she works with NASA now, or no? Maybe not. She's got her own company, but I think she's probably been, she's done TED Talks. So Astha Kacha is the space architect that I'm familiar with. She was kind of doing big things, making her rounds. And then I was just encouraging you to look up Team AI Space Factory. They won this competition back in like 2019, and that was before like MidJourney and everything was coming out. So it was especially interesting to see a proposal that was like had AI in the name. But there's also what's that company? AI 3D print. It's an AI 3D printing company that was doing that like way before this AI wave came also. So any last questions? We've got just a few minutes left here, so I'm going to wrap it up so I can finish up a couple pieces of work before ending the night. If there's not any more questions, I guess I will just say that this was the first of hopefully many late night meetings, virtual mentorship meetings that I'd like to start hosting for any architects that are interested not only in traditional practice, but especially emergent practice, using a lot of the new tools that are coming out with AI integrated into architectural design workflows, Revit, BIM, but also 3D printing, digital fabrication, robotic assembly. These types of conversations will be discussed here on the League of Emergent Architectural Practitioners, LEAP. So I am Stephen Corliss, host of LEAP and also host of Architecture for Thought. And we'll see if this becomes integrated into Architecture for Thought as sort of a sister brand or something independent. But I figured since I had a community of you guys who were kind of already here already, we'd keep the ball rolling on that. So let me know your thoughts. If you're watching this after the fact, I'd also be curious to know your thoughts if this is helpful. Maybe I'll put like a notification out for the next one to be just alerted, for people to be alerted that I'll be online at a certain time for people to ask questions. But with that said, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully someone finds this useful, and we will continue to do more of this. Thanks a lot.